If Christ's 10 fears were the deepest shadows of the cross, then his 10 desires are the most brilliant dawn of the resurrection. We often ask, what does God want from me? As if he were a stern judge demanding payment. But the truth is far more astonishing. God doesn't want your religion, he wants your heart. He doesn't crave your perfection, he craves your presence. This is the story of the eternal longing, 10 burning desires in God's heart for you. Chapter 1. The hunger for communion, the eternal ache. Before time began, within the perfect fullness of the divine, there was a stirring, not born of a need, but of a profound desire. God did not create the universe to expand his glory, but to share it. He did not wish to exist alone as a solitary monarch ruling over a sterile void. He hungered for otherness, for a family to participate in his infinite overflow of joy. This divine hunger for communion is the foundational heartbeat of the entire cosmos. When God ignited the stars and carved the seabeds, he was meticulously preparing a home for a relationship. He created a space to walk with a creature who possessed the ultimate freedom to look back into his eyes and choose him. This was the great divine risk. Forced communion is merely a mechanical simulation. So he sought a voluntary response. In the garden, after the fracture of the fall, his cry, "Adam, where are you?" was not the interrogation of a judge, but the mourning of a father homesick for his child. The ultimate expression of this ache is Jesus Christ. He traded a sapphire throne for a manger of hay because communion requires presence. You cannot have a transformative relationship with a concept, you can only love a person. Jesus became Emmanuel, God with us, relentlessly pursuing the tables of outcasts and sinners to prove that his holiness heals rather than excludes. In the upper room, facing the shadows of the cross, he confessed, with fervent desire, "I have longed to eat this Passover with you." Even at his lowest point, his priority was a shared meal. He took upon himself the absolute loneliness of death so that your isolation could be swallowed up by his eternal presence. He is not seeking your religious performance, he is seeking your company. Will you finally satisfy the hunger of the one who died just to be with you? Chapter 2. The thirst for truth, the unmasked soul. In a world built upon the shifting sands of deception, Jesus walked as the incarnate truth, but he did not come as a judge seeking to condemn. Instead, he hungered to find an echo of reality within the human heart. This is the second great longing, the thirst for the unmasked soul. Jesus was infinitely patient with the broken but a consuming fire toward religious pretense. He knew that hypocrisy is the ultimate barrier to love. You cannot love a mask. Only a person. He thirsted for the version of you that exists in the dark, the one that is afraid and has failed, because that is the only version he can truly heal. When he spoke to the woman at the well about her past, it was not to shame her, but to liberate her from the exhausting labor of pretending. His thirst for truth was also a thirst for justice, the desire to see things called by their right names. He stood before Pilate, representing an empire of power, and declared a kingdom of truth. Today, that thirst echoes whenever you feel the hollow ache of living a lie. He is inviting you to the terrifying freedom of the light. To satisfy his thirst is to lay down your defenses and say, "This is who I am." He drinks in your honesty and, in exchange, pours his life into you. Chapter 3. The passion for justice, the cry of the restorer. The third longing of Christ is not a cold, legalistic demand for punishment, but a passionate, divine hunger to see the wrong made right. Jesus did not look upon the oppressed, the widow, or the marginalized with mere pity. He looked at them with a sacred urgency for restoration. His heart burned to tear down the systemic and spiritual walls that crush the human spirit. To Jesus, justice is the social expression of love. It is the refusal to remain silent while the image of God is being defiled in another person. This divine passion was most visible when he challenged the religious structures of his day. Every time he healed on the Sabbath or defended those labeled as unworthy, he was declaring that the truth of mercy must always outweigh the rules of men. His justice is not about balancing a ledger of sins, but about setting a broken world back on its hinges. He hungers for a reality where the last are first, where the hungry are fed, and where the dignity of the lowly is fully restored. He does not want you to be a passive spectator of his grace, but an active channel for his restoration. He desires for your eyes to see what his eyes see, the inherent value in the broken. He hungers for a world where mercy flows like a relentless river, washing away the stains of cruelty and indifference. To satisfy this desire of Christ is to align your heart with his advocacy. It is to stand for the truth when it is unpopular and to love the unlovable when it is costly. He invites you to join his mission of healing the earth, proving that his kingdom is not a distant dream, but a present reality breaking through our darkness. Chapter 4. The Yearning to Heal, the Great Physician. Every touch Jesus gave to a leper and every word he spoke to the blind was driven by a divine longing to restore what was broken. He does not look at your wounds with disgust or turn away from your scars. He looks at them with a craving to mend. His fourth longing is the yearning to heal, a desire so intense that it redefined his entire ministry. He does not merely want to fix your symptoms, he desires your total wholeness more than you do yourself. His hands, which would eventually be scarred by the nails of the cross, are the hands of a great physician who refuses to give up on his patient. He yearns to reach into the deepest, most hidden traumas of your past, the ones you have buried under layers of shame, and breathe new life into your soul. He is not put off by your mess, your addictions, or your chronic pain. Where the world sees a lost cause, Christ sees a masterpiece in need of restoration. He hungered to see the scales fall from your eyes and the paralysis leave your spirit. To satisfy this longing, you must stop hiding your infirmities from him. He does not demand that you come to him healthy, he asks that you come to him broken. His healing is not a transactional reward for faith, but a free gift of his compassionate nature. He wants to walk through the hallways of your memory, healing the whispers of, not enough, and replacing them with his declaration of, beloved. His yearning is to see you walk in the full sunlight of life, free from the shadows of the past. When you allow him to touch your wounds, you aren't just getting better, you are satisfying the heart that bled so that you could be made whole. Chapter 5. The Desire for Sacrifice, the Hunger to Give All. It sounds like a divine paradox, but Christ truly hungered to give himself away. He did not merely endure the cross as a grim fate, he embraced the mission with an active, burning love. No one takes my life from me, he declared. I lay it down of my own accord. His fifth longing is the desire for sacrifice, an intense craving to be the bread that is broken and the wine that is poured out for the sake of humanity. Jesus wanted to prove, once and for all, that there is no distance his love will not travel to find you. His sacrifice was not a tragedy of history, but the ultimate satisfaction of a divine hunger, the hunger to belong to you. He desired to pay a debt he did not owe because he saw an eternal value in you that you could not see in yourself. He chose humiliation to trade it for your glory, he chose death to exchange it for your life. Chapter 6. The Longing for Oneness, the Prayer for Unity. As the shadows of the cross lengthened, Jesus offered his most profound intercession, that they may be one. Even as we are one. His sixth longing is for a supernatural oneness that transcends bloodlines, political borders, and human denominations. This is not a request for a cold, institutional uniformity, but a yearning for a family of diverse voices tuned to the same frequency of grace. His heart breaks over our divisions, our walls of pride, and the tribalism that turns brothers into strangers. Jesus hungers for a unity that serves as the ultimate evidence of his reality to the world. He desires a community where the marginalized are welcomed as royalty and where the enemy is met with a transformative love. This oneness is the sacred we, a tapestry of humanity woven together by the thread of his spirit. He longs for you to find your primary identity not in your status or your tribe, but in the shared heartbeat of his love. He knows that in isolation, we are easily broken, but in oneness, we become a temple that the gates of hell cannot prevail against. To satisfy this longing, we must lay down the weapons of our judgment. Christ desires for us to see others through his eyes, recognizing the same image of the divine in our neighbor as in ourselves. He wants us to move beyond the shallow peace of tolerance into the deep, costly peace of reconciliation. When we choose to forgive, to bridge the gaps of prejudice, and to love without conditions, we are answering the final prayer of Christ. We become the visible body of an invisible God, fulfilling his desire to see a fragmented world made whole through the power of his undivided heart. To satisfy this desire of Christ, We must learn the difficult art of being loved. Our ego often resists, wanting to save itself or prove its own worth. But Christ longs for you to cast aside your self-sufficiency and simply receive His grace. He wants you to understand that His sacrifice was not intended to buy your pity, but to establish an unbreakable covenant of blood. When you accept His self-giving love, you allow the fire of the Creator's heart to burn to its fullest intent, transforming your brokenness into a masterpiece of mercy. He didn't just die for you, He died to prove that you are worth the life of God. Chapter 7. The desire for your rest, the sacred sanctuary. In a world that measures worth by productivity and demands that we be more, faster, and better, Jesus whispers a radical, countercultural invitation. Come to me, and I will give you rest. His seventh longing is not for your labor, but for your stillness. He hungers to see you find peace in a chaotic world, desiring to be your Sabbath, your sanctuary, and your true home. He is not a taskmaster tracking your achievements. He is the shepherd who yearns to lead you beside quiet waters. Jesus desires to lift the heavy yoke of the world's expectations from your exhausted shoulders and replace it with His light burden of grace. He wants you to stop the frantic running and start resting in the shadow of His wings. To Jesus, your rest is an act of trust. It is the physical and spiritual declaration that His enough is greater than your not enough. He longs for those moments of quiet communion where you are not performing, not asking, and not achieving, but simply being with Him. To satisfy this desire of Christ, you must give Him your weariness. We often try to bring Him our best selves, but He specifically asks for our heavy-laden selves. He wants to be the space where you finally let go of the need to prove your value. His longing is to heal the burnout of your soul and restore the joy of your salvation. When you choose to be still and know that He is God, you are offering Him a gift that no amount of work could ever match. You are allowing the Lord of the Sabbath to finally be the Lord of your peace, finding your home in the heart that never grows weary of you. Chapter 8. The hunger for fruitfulness, the divine gardener. Jesus famously declared, "I am the vine, and you are the branches." His eighth longing is the hunger for your fruitfulness, not to be confused with mere busyness. He does not want you to simply survive the pressures of life. He desires for you to thrive and overflow. His heart yearns to see the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, and patience, blossom within your character. He is the gardener of the soul, and His greatest joy is seeing the unique seeds He planted in you reach their full, vibrant potential. His desire for your fruitfulness is rooted in His love for the world. He knows that when you are healthy and connected to the vine, your life becomes a source of nourishment for everyone around you. However, He also knows that fruit cannot be forced. It can only be grown through abiding. He hungers for you to stop struggling and start surrendering to His pruning shears. He cuts away what is dead or distracting, not to punish you, but to make room for a more beautiful harvest. He isn't looking for a list of chores completed. He is looking for the transformation of your nature. To satisfy this hunger, you must prioritize your connection to Him over your contribution for Him. We often get so caught up in doing for God that we forget how to be with Him. Christ longs for you to sink your roots deep into the soil of His grace. When you allow His life-giving Spirit to flow through you, fruitfulness becomes an effortless byproduct of intimacy. Your life begins to reflect His beauty, and your actions become a sweet aroma to a starving world. You are the garden He loves to tend. Let Him find a harvest of love in you. Chapter 9. The longing for celebration, the Lord of the feast. We often paint a portrait of Jesus as a man of constant sorrows. Yet we forget that He was a guest at weddings, a companion at feasts, and a maker of wine. His ninth longing is for celebration. His heart yearns for the great banquet, where every tear is wiped away and every sorrow is turned into dancing. He is not a somber deity who fears human joy. He is the author of it, longing to share His infinite happiness with you. He doesn't just want to save you from a dark past. He wants to invite you into a radiant future. Jesus hungers for the moment when the wedding of the Lamb begins, the ultimate party that will never end. He desires to hear your laughter and see your delight in the beauty of His new creation. This longing for celebration is why He spent so much time at the table during His earthly ministry. Every meal was a rehearsal for the eternal feast. He wants you to experience a foretaste of that joy even now. In the midst of your trials, He desires to turn your mourning into dancing and your spirit of heaviness into a garment of praise. To satisfy this desire of Christ, you must choose joy as an act of faith. In a world defined by cynicism and despair, your celebration is a powerful testimony to His victory. He wants you to feast on His promises and delight in His presence. When we celebrate the small victories of grace, we are echoing the joy of the shepherd who found his lost sheep. You were made for more than just endurance, you were made for ecstasy. Open your heart to the Lord of the feast, and let Him lead you into a life characterized by the irrepressible joy of a soul that knows it is finally eternally home. Chapter 10. The ultimate desire for home, the eternal reunion. The 10th and deepest longing of Christ is the resolution of all human history, the end of the distance. I go to prepare a place for you, He promised, that where I am, you may be also. His ultimate desire is not just to improve your life or forgive your sins, it is to have you with Him. Face to face, forever. He is the divine bridegroom waiting for His beloved, the architect of a city where there is no more night, no more parting, and no more goodbye. He is not just a destination at the end of a long road, He is the home your heart has been searching for since your very first breath. This longing for home is why the resurrection was so vital. He did not rise from the grave simply to prove His power, but to ensure that the reunion would be physical, tangible, and eternal. He hungers for the moment when the veil between heaven and earth is torn away forever. The moment He can finally wipe every tear from your eyes with His own hand. To Jesus, heaven is not about golden streets or pearly gates, it is about the presence. It is the satisfaction of the ache that began in the Garden of Eden. He wants to walk with you again in the cool of the day, without the shadow of shame or the fear of death. To satisfy this ultimate longing, you must live as a citizen of that home even now. Christ desires for you to set your affections on things above, recognizing that you are a pilgrim in a temporary land. When you fix your gaze on Him, the homesickness of your soul finds its purpose. He is not a distant landlord waiting for you to arrive. He is the Father standing at the edge of the porch, looking at the horizon, waiting for the first sight of your return. He has already kept the light on for you. Will you hasten toward the arms that have been opened since the foundation of the world? The 10 desires of Christ are not demands, they are invitations. They are the rhythmic pulse of a Creator who is relentlessly, almost recklessly, in love with you. From the hunger for your communion to the ultimate longing for your homecoming. Every heartbeat of Jesus is a call to intimacy. He isn't waiting for you to become a saint before He approaches, He is waiting for you to be a friend. As this journey ends, remember that the fire is already burning, the table is set, and the King is still knocking. He doesn't want your religious perfection, He wants your presence. Your dawn has finally broken, and the one who understands you best is the one who loves you most. The search is over, the hunger is answered. He is here, He is yours, come home.